Couple of big ones in the theaters this week, and one I think just might bring some big crowds back. Hope so. Hopefully more than one. But welcome. This is the Screening Room podcast, and she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And we're going to start by heading out to the stars.
Starting off on the big screen, science teacher Ryland Grace wakes up alone on a spaceship light years from Earth. As his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing the sun and save Earth. An unexpected friendship may be the key in Project Hail Mary.
Darn you, Ryan Gosling. A movie that is really so enjoyable that it makes me feel bad for saying, it's not a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I've heard that thrown around. I wouldn't go that far, but it really is enjoyable. I think this is a movie that is going to get people talking. They'll come out of the theater and recommend it, which is awesome. The kind of movie that could bring crowds back to the theater, because it's one of those, we say it a lot, you really, really should see it on the big screen.
Oh, yeah, because
You
it was
really
filmed in IMAX.
IMAX,
It's gorgeous.
looks and
It's
sounds
outer
great.
space. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it's not a one-man show, but it sometimes feels that
Yeah.
way for Ryan Gosling, who is perfectly charming and endearing in the way that he usually is. And he plays Dr. Grace, who wakes up from an induced coma in the middle of outer space. And he is basically our only hope to find out and hopefully find a way to combat this space dust that has been slowly eating away at the sun. And the hypothesis is, the estimate is that in 30 years, the sun will be gone, and then we'll be gone. So the Hail Mary project back on Earth, their last chance, gets scientists involved, astronauts involved, and one thing leads to another. And our last hope becomes a middle school science teacher who found his way into the capsule. So how did that happen? And how is he going to complete this mission by himself? Well, the film does flashbacks to show us how he got there. And then we find out that he's really not by himself, because he meets, as the trailer will tell you, we're not spoiling anything here, a cute little alien that he nicknames Rocky, because he looks like he looks and moves like a crab made of stones.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's Rocky. And they learn how to communicate, and Rocky inverts words in phrases that leads to some funny exchanges. And Ryan Gosling is always self-deprecating. He says that he puts the knot in astronaut. How's he going to do this? So it's warm and it's funny, and it, for a lot of the time, feels like it could be a kid's movie.
Yeah, it's very family friendly. I mean,
Very.
if you're considering taking your kids, I think they'll enjoy it just as much as anybody.
Yeah, for sure. And the directors are dual directors of Christopher Miller and Phil Lord. Now
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
which I really liked.
I was so excited. I tripped over the words. We love that movie.
Loved it. They also did the Lego movie.
That's right.
And I believe they wrote the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was freaking great.
Yeah, that's right.
So now it's not animated, and now they move it to live action, but it looks fantastic. The script was adapted by Drew Goddard, big name,
who did The Martian. He adapted
The Martian, and the source material is also from the author that wrote The Martian. Now, I was not Andy Weir. Yeah, I was not a huge fan of The Martian.
No.
A lot of people
We're
were,
the only ones.
and that's great. I know, because I thought it took the cuteness way over the line, especially with all those very obvious needle drops. It got a little much for me. But this has much the same themes. You've got a solitary man in space. He's our last hope, and he has to depend on science, which I did like. I mean, they lean on intelligence and science and deduction and problem solving.
He's got some great t-shirts,
which is great. Got some great
He's got some great science nerd t-shirts.
And there's some fun interaction with the alien. But it's awful cute. It's awful quippy. I mean, I know this is science fiction and we've got rocket ships and everything, so we're believing we're going along for the ride. But the stakes don't seem that authentic when he's going to be dropping these quips. Like, it's very light. It's very light, very calculated.
Given that we're looking at the apocalypse.
Exactly. But it's funny. It works. It's very eager to please, and I think it does please.
Yeah.
And that, saying that we don't think it's a masterpiece is not a knock on it. Still liked it. I mean, you're taking the family out. You're spending the money. for a night at the movies, you want to come out of there thinking you got your money's worth, I think you're going to.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the rare films that I think everybody in the family is going to enjoy.
Yeah, definitely so. Also, a big nod to Sandra Huller.
Who's great in everything.
She's great, and she plays
So
the
good.
leader of the project back on Earth, and
Yeah.
she brings some much needed gravitas, some reality. Her character has no time for these quips.
Nope.
Very impatient. Look, you're in or you're out. Let's go. And the movie needs that.
Yeah.
It really does, because it's so light and so quippy. I keep using that word, and seems so calculated to be mass appeal, which it is. But Huller really gives it a jolt of reality that it needs. And then I will give it credit for, in the third act, it drops a little twist on you that I didn't see coming. That makes it seem a little more. The stakes become a little more heavy, which I really did appreciate. That brings it out of the safe zone for a few minutes, I think, before it's back in the safe zone. But it's going after a very family-friendly mashup of 2001 and E.T., and that's where it lives. And you're right. I think the whole family's gonna like it. There's something for everybody here, and I hope it makes $1 billion. And I hope it brings all kinds of crowds back to the theaters that will then find other movies too.
Yeah.
But it's just a good time at the movies. I know we're not in summer yet. We're getting there.
Yeah.
This almost feels like a summer movie.
Yeah, it's not exactly a popcorn muncher because it's smarter than that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like a blockbuster.
Yeah,
It's very much
it
a
is.
blockbuster.
It is. And there is at least one section of some good tension.
Yeah.
But again, just gives you all the things, the visuals and the warm fuzzies and the funnies.
And Gosling is perfect.
He's perfect.
He's ideal for this role.
He's perfect. I mean, he's always had superb comic timing and that kind of, self-deprecating. He's a molecular biologist, so he's very smart, but yet he was teaching middle school science because he had some theories that were a bit out there, not exactly peer approved. So he's kind of got that aw shucks black sheep kind of thing going on, and he's perfect for that.
Yeah.
He really is. And this, we should give a nod to the voice
James
of Rocky,
Ortiz.
James Ortiz.
They go through a lot of different voices before they land
Yeah.
on this, and that bit's pretty funny
Yeah,
too.
it is pretty funny. So, yeah, just a good time at the movies. I think what a family is gonna like, and so it's a recommendation. Not a masterpiece, but that's still not a knock.
No.
On Project Hail Mary, the IMAX theaters right now.
Also on the big screen, after surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all. Ready or not 2, here I come.
This one not for the families.
No.
Not so much.
No.
Too much blood splatter.
So good though.
But fun.
It's super fun. It's super fun. If you saw Ready or Not, and if you haven't, oh, you should.
It's fun.
It's so fun, and it's it's technically a horror film. It's kind of more of an action comedy about Samara Weaving plays Grace, and she marries the love of her life. He happens, she doesn't realize, to be a billionaire from a long old billionaire family, and because rich people are evil, they try to kill her in this overnight game of hide and seek. And she survives, and they all die. And so in the sequel, she wakes up handcuffed to a hospital bed. But that's too bad, because not only are the police after her, but so is the larger network of billionaires who runs the entire world and are all unspeakably, irredeemably evil. So just like today, it's just like real life, except that billionaires face comeuppance in this movie, so it's a cathartic joy. The whole film is. The whole cast is great. So Samara Weaving reprises her role as Grace, and Catherine Newton plays her sister, her younger sister, Faith, and they're very funny together. And they have a great sibling bickering kind of a relationship with each other, and that's really the spine of the film. Is why are they not friends anymore? How are they going to become friends again? And that's one of the reasons that the movie is more than just a collection of these bloody set pieces with these different evil rich people. But the evil rich people also great casting. First of all, Elijah Wood plays Satan's lawyer, which is very funny. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar is kind of the smartest of the group, and her father, the patriarch of her family, is David Cronenberg. So that was so much fun to
Nice.
see. But the whole, I mean, the whole cast. There's a lot of, I mean, it's a semi-large group of people of rich people and rich people hangers on, and they're funny. They all do a really good job, and the different sort of violent demises are very funny. It it kind of tries your patience every once in a while when Grace and Faith just keep making bad decisions is about when to have a seat and when to have like a little spat. But on the whole, it's just a lot of fun and a very sort of social cathartic moment for
It's
us
the
all.
same filmmakers are back
Yes,
this time
yeah.
too, right?
Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette, who also they've made a bunch of movies, including they made Abigail about the dancing vampire with Catherine Newton a couple of years ago. And actually, you see some other familiar faces from some of their movies. They just like to work with the same people, I suppose. But it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, and if you saw the first one, you're in for the same type of stuff.
Yep.
It was fun then.
Yep.
It's fun again.
Mhm.
And we've got 2 movies now with Grace as a title,
That's right. As a character.
as a character. Yeah, and now in this one you've got Faith. So I think if they make a third one,
I got to be in it.
there's got to be a hope. There's got to be a hope. A Sister Hope or a mom or somebody. So yeah, Ready or Not 2, here I come. It's more of the same, and that's a good thing. And that is in the theaters now.
A horror comedy on the big screen, A Coven of Vampires is hunting on dating apps, where they meet vampire hunters and schedule dates. The nights that unfold are action-packed modern horror madness. Vampires of the Velvet Lounge.
Horror comedy. That makes you think there's going to be laughs. This is an odd bird. I'll tell you what. This is an odd bird. It's got a lot of familiar faces, led right at the top by Mina Suvari, who's playing Elizabeth Bathory. Very Countess, very famous vampire serial killer. Insert the title here. And I guess, it's kind of fun to think after all these centuries, maybe they're having fun with their victims by getting on dating apps. Oh, all right. They got to have some fun. And then vampire hunters get on dating apps. So that premise is that has some funny implications there.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, the tone that writer-director Adam Sherman takes on this, I think it might work for a very, very small group of people with a very, very niche sense of humor. I didn't laugh at this at all. And the tone, it's so interesting because you get the feeling that it's going for this, super noir Sin City type of thing where they're doing this low budget look on purpose, where they're using the green screen, the obvious green screen for a driving sequence. It's so obvious, but it's on purpose. Okay. But is it going to be funny? Are you going to take it so over the top that it's then funny? And they never do. It's always in this area that seems like it is serious at the same time that it's not. And it just, for me, it never worked. And you got a succession of familiar faces. We talked about Mina Suvari, and Stephen Dorff shows up. A bunch of Mark Boone Jr. You may not know his name, but you'll know his face. Tom Berenger in his high beams. He shows up. I mean, a lot of people also that you'll recognize maybe from TV that I wasn't as familiar with because, as we said, we don't watch TV. But you'll see that. But boy, what they do is just very, very odd. It's very odd, the tone that they're going for. And yeah, they're selling it as a comedy, but it's not funny at all because if it's gonna walk right up to the line of camp, but never quite get there, then you're not really playing it serious, but then you're playing it too serious. Some of the bloodletting is comical, but not comical enough. Low budget, but not really. It's really strange. It is really strange. So I think for a very small niche segment, this could become maybe like a cult sort of thing, but not for me. Not for me at all. Not really much to recommend here at all. No laughs as a comedy. No real thrills as a straight up vampire story. Just after the premise, I was kind of intrigued by that. Oh, this could be fun. You're on dating apps, and there could be some winks there.
Yeah, maybe a cautionary tale about how
yeah,
being intimate with somebody that you just met on an app is dangerous. I
don't
know, but
no,
maybe they're a vampire.
Nope. Disappointed in this. I thought it had promise, but after the first few minutes, I was out. But if you're one of those very niche people in the audience, you could love it. I don't know, but it's on Prime. So
it's also in select theaters.
Oh, it is in select theaters. Okay, so you've got a couple of different ways
Yeah.
to check it out if you want to. We were not impressed by Vampires of the Velvet Lounge.
On Prime Video this week, a twist on the body swap genre. It's By Design.
Yeah, this is another odd duck as well. I know the host this morning on our TV gig were a little quizzical about it.
Andrea Kramer made this movie. She wrote and directed it, and she made another one that we did a couple of years ago. Please Baby Please, which was sort of a 1940s set, like cat kind of a musical thing. That was fun. She's got a very interesting style. And the thing about her style is, I think that what it does is sort of poke fun at pretentious art movies. But a lot of people just think it is pretentious art movies. So it's going to kind of depend on where you land on that. This movie is very, it could be all on a stage. I mean, it's very absurdist and a little bit surreal for sure. And it's a woman, Juliette Lewis, who's magnificent in this movie. And she and her friends that she doesn't really talk. She just sits there while they talk, and they're both rich and they're both kind of vacuous, and they shop every week after they have lunch. No one ever buys anything, and they go in on this day to a chair store. I was going to say a furniture store, but it only sells chairs. And she falls in love with a chair, just a wood chair, nothing fancy. She loves it. She absolutely must have it. When she comes back the next day to buy it, it has been sold. But she just wants to know, can she please touch it? Can she just touch it? And so then that's the Freaky Friday moment. She swaps identities with this chair because it's so useful. It has a purpose, and it's beautiful, but the beauty doesn't age, and she can't remember the last time that she sat quietly and anybody saw her. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on under the surface about being seen and being useful, and about just consumerism, and there's a lot to like about this movie. So she swaps identities with this chair. The chair has been gifted to a man that falls in love with the chair, and she, inside the chair, the soul of the chair, falls in love with this man. And then the Juliette Lewis body is just motionless body. So she has her best afternoon ever with her mother, who loves that she's become such a great listener. And I mean, it's a weird movie for sure. I'm trying to find who plays her mom because, oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I can't find it. But also, I can't think of anybody's name. I can think of no proper nouns. Dakota Johnson's mother.
Melanie Griffith.
Thank you. Melanie Griffith has a voiceover. It took me a long time. I'm like, I know that voice. And it's one of the rare occasions where the voiceover is not only fun, but useful because the movie is just so odd. And there's a ton of faces that you're going to recognize all throughout this movie. Robert Tunney. I mean, there's a ton of people who just kind of pop in and pop out and are affected by this motionless, speechless woman, like really affected by her. And they all assume that her behavior means something. It's really an interesting movie. So weird, so hard to summarize properly, but I really enjoyed it. And in particular, I thought that that Juliette Lewis was great.
And if you like this movie about a woman switching with a chair, maybe go look up Rubber from back in the day about a killer tire.
Or In Fabric.
That's
what this reminded me of.
Oh, yeah.
The film In Fabric really sort of fetishizes shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And this does it, but not to the same degree. And nobody murders anybody in this movie.
But then there's Robert, the tire.
Yeah.
Rubber.
Yeah.
Look that up.
Yeah.
But here's another weird one. We've got a few weird ones this week.
We got some weird ones this week.
But weird in a good way?
Mm-hmm. This is weird in a good way. Yeah. And this is not like anything you've seen. There's not a chance you're going to predict where it's going at any point. So that's a plus.
All right. Juliette Lewis in By Design. And that one is in theaters?
Nope. That's streaming.
That's in streaming. I'll try to get it right. That's for streaming.
On VOD this week, a high society couple's marriage is tested when the husband discovers a secret erotic society and attends a masked ball, ignoring warnings of potential consequences after his wife admits having fantasies about another man. It's Dream Story.
Does that synopsis sound strangely familiar? It might.
It might.
If you've seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut,
Yes.
Stanley Kubrick
Mhm.
from 1999, I
Yes,
believe. So
99.
that's been a while. Been a while.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know, that movie was based on a 1926 novella
Yeah.
called Dream Story.
Right. And so this is an adaptation of the same source material by Florian Frerichs, and it's set in Berlin, where it seems very at home. The story seems there. And Nikolai Kinski, Klaus Kinski's son, plays Jacob, the doctor, who, when he realizes that his wife would probably have had sex with a stranger while they were on vacation if she had the opportunity, he suddenly is like it's as if he woke up from this dream of a contented marriage. And so he's just not sure. I mean, what do you do in that situation besides seek out cloak and mask orgies? That's all I can think of. No, so he winds up out in the streets of Berlin, and he tries to find some seedy entertainment. And what I think is interesting about this movie is that he seems like, he seems like a petulant child, like he's just going to go be a bad boy now, and he doesn't fit. That's not who he is. And this movie is a lot more of a love story. It is really about his just being sort of lost if this isn't his life. If he's not in love with his wife that he's married to, and she's not in love with him, then he doesn't really know what he's doing or what he's supposed to do or what's up. And so he just kind of stumbles into these bad situations. And the movie is much more dream oriented.
Oh, yes.
The lead, Kinski, he has a lot of these sort of fantasy sequences about an opera that they're going to be going to, about sort of beating up these guys in the street. He breaks the fourth wall at one point. And it's also, I think, a bit about his mortality. In the beginning of the first act, a patient of his dies, and the patient's daughter throws herself at him while the dead father is in the same room. And so I think that sort of starts him on this particular spiral. But also I do think that this idea that, maybe his whole adult life has been spent in this situation where he thought things were good and they're not, and he's particularly feeling his mortality. I think those themes are much more on the surface of this than the Kubrick movie was about how the obscenely wealthy have lost their humanity. They treat all things as objects and all interactions as transactions. And that's really what that film was about. This is really not about that. As a matter of fact, it doesn't make much mention of the wealthy at all. It's a little bit more of a horror film.
Yeah, a little bit.
The party,
Yeah.
You don't think to yourself, these are rich people. You think to yourself, these are just Berlin weirdos.
Yeah, exactly. You'll hit the same plot points, and you even get a couple of nods, a couple of tips of the hat to Kubrick, which is, you might as well.
Yeah.
But the treatment is different. Yeah, much more dreamlike, sometimes more horror adjacent, I think, than Eyes Wide Shut was, and just a different treatment.
Yeah.
It's not as outright sexual either. I mean, once it gets to the orgy, you don't see much at all.
No.
It's like you said, more of a love story, and this guy coming to grips with his mortality through these dream sequences. One of the sequences is animated as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
trippy.
Yeah, a little trippy. So even though it's based on the same story, a different take, and I know that's kind of ambitious to take on a Kubrick.
Yeah, as a director, I'm going to follow Kubrick.
Yeah.
How could that go wrong?
Yeah, but it's definitely a different treatment. And if you like that and like the story, maybe you've read the original story, definitely one to check out, because it is a slightly different treatment, although it goes down the same road. And that is on, let me get this right, that's on streaming.
It is.
And that is called Dream Story, mostly in English. There is some foreign language, but it's mostly in English.
Yeah.
Despite the poster being there in
I think that's in French. Trom Nouvelle.
Yeah, even though it's set in Germany, Berlin.
Yeah.
So definitely worth checking out, and that is on streaming.
Yeah.
A documentary on Shudder this week. Women pioneers revolutionize horror cinema through their groundbreaking work as directors, actors, and creators since 1895, leaving an indelible mark on the genre's evolution. It's 1,000 Women in Horror.
Horror's not a boys' club, says it right there.
That's right. And the name, as they point out, is kind of a joke because there's in the history of horror way more than 1,000 women that, we've been there since the very, very first. And it's based on the book called 1,000 Women in Horror by Alexandra Heller Nicholas, who is also a big, she wrote more or less that she's listed as the writer of the documentary. She's also in the documentary. And she's been in a lot of horror documentaries. She's always very interesting. She's a film critic who focuses particularly on horror. She was great in Chain Reactions, this remarkable documentary about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And her insights there, I thought, were just fantastic. And it's directed by Donna Davies, who I'm not super familiar with, although she did do a TV documentary, like an hour-long documentary about women in horror, like maybe a decade ago. So, it's certainly an area that they both know a lot about. We get to hear from a lot of great filmmakers. Jen Wexler talks, Bria Grant talks. We get to hear from Mary Herron, which is, of course, the most important person since she directed American Psycho, which is perfect. Just a ton. Nikyatu Jusu, I apologize if I tore up that name, but she made Nanny a few years ago, which is a great movie, and she was very interesting to hear from. She has some great things to say. Also, so Toby Poser is in it. I mean, it's just a ton of people.
Lynn Shay.
Oh, Lynn Shay. There's there's a lot of directors, writers, performers. You just get to hear, and then what they do is basically deconstruct the tropes over the years concerning women, as horror films represent women. So children to adolescent girls to, young women to older ladies, and how agency and depiction and the image of women changes over the years and what it can mean. And sometimes you look at the same image and mine something powerful from something that most people consider sort of derogatory. And it's a fascinating, one of the things I like, I was hoping for a little bit more history on women in horror. I was hoping to see, there's a little bit of it, but I was kind of hoping to see more of that. I was kind of hoping to end up with like a list of movies that I needed to go see. You still might, I've seen a lot. But what I liked the most, what I realized at the end, because I've seen a lot of documentaries. I've seen hundreds of documentaries, and I can't tell you how many of them only men have spoken. Most documentaries I have seen, only men have spoken. This is the first documentary I've ever seen in my life where only women speak. Women are telling me all kinds of fascinating information about a topic I find endlessly fascinating. And it was a powerful experience for me, and I think it will be for you too. I think you should watch it. 1,000 Women in Horror. It's on Shudder right now.
All right.
A thriller on Prime Video next. In a world where environmental collapse has left survivors to fight over the precious remaining resources, a young woman's loyalties are tested by the arrival of a wounded man who discovers her family has a secret supply of fresh water. It's The Well.
Yes, there's a couple of movies out there right now called The Well. In fact, we had the wrong one up until about 5 minutes ago.
The synopsis.
We had the wrong trailer loaded. But this is a post-apocalyptic type of thing. And it will seem quite familiar. I mean, there's a lot of movies where water, understandably, is the most precious resource. But there's a lot about this movie that's familiar. And you can find the review. Our review is done by Adam Barney.
Yeah, and he was hopeful. That was a good premise. The performances were fine. It's just that it doesn't really go anywhere, and it doesn't leave you with anything to remember.
Yeah, Sheila McCarthy, who you may remember as the TV reporter from Die Hard 2. Actually, she's had a long and very good career. She was in Women Talking. Yeah, that's how I always remember because, it's Die Hard.
That's right.
But yeah, unfortunately, Adam thought this was just too familiar and nothing really new to say. But you can check out his full review. It's up now at MaddWolf.com, and that's available now on Prime Video. It is called The Well. All right, looking ahead to next week, not really the big ones that we had this week. We'll see what happens, but one called They Will Kill You.
Zazie Beetz. I've been excited about that one. It's got a Ready or Not vibe about it.
I've seen the poster for that. You're right.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Also, Alpha, the new one from Julia Ducournau.
Oh, looking forward to that. Mike and Nick and Alice.
You were looking forward to that
Yep, that is out next week as well.
one. Refuge. Yeah, Refuge is a new one for next week.
Forbidden Fruit.
Yeah, that looks like a fun horror film. The Serpent's Skin.
And one called A Magnificent Life.
That one's animated. That one looks fascinating. I'm excited
okay.
about that one. Yeah.
All right, good. All right, so that's all next week. But boy, what about this week? The big ones. So Project Hail Mary.
Huge.
Or Ready or Not 2. Or the weird ones. There's some weird ones.
There are some weird ones. Maybe it's a good week for that.
It is a good week to be a weirdo. So,
it's always a good week to be a weirdo.
If you love Vampires of the Velvet Lounge, let me know. Because
you want to swap lives with a chair?
All right. Let us know. Keep the conversation going all the time. You can find us at MaddWolf Columbus on all the socials. MaddWolf.com is the main website. We've got a lot going on. If you really love the horror movies, the horror stuff as we do, we've got another podcast called Fright Club. And then we've got a dedicated Fright Club podcast group on Facebook that we'd love to have you be a part of as well. Always talking about fun horror movie stuff in there. So lots of ways to keep in touch is what I'm saying. And we hope you will enjoy the movies, enjoy the weather. It's finally warming up. I don't know where you are, but where we are in Ohio, it's going to be like close to 80 this weekend, where 3 days ago it was snowing.
Yeah. Do we ever just get spring? Can we ever just have 75 and sunny?
No, I guess not. But I'm liking it. So I hope it's good where you are. Until next week, keep in touch. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Screening Room Podcast.
See ya.
Are either one of these any good?
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.